Hi friends, welcome to Answers. So today it is the 72nd episode in the history series. So today instead of a period of time, we are going to discuss about the life of one person, and that person is the infamous Adolf Hitler, the founder of the Nazi party. Founder means the main person of the Nazi party. He was not actually the founder. Yes. So first, in the 19th century, he was not a German at all. He was just an Austrian who had a love for Germany. Yes. So okay. So let's just draw a border. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. Okay. So here is Austria and Hungary, and here is the German Empire. Yes. So this Hitler was born in a small town just next to the border. Yes. So that area, so he and his family later migrated from here to here to here to here and further inland each time. Yes. So that means he had to study 5 times in 5 different schools. That's a pretty hard time for one person. Yes. Okay, so because they were so close to German border, they were pretty good German nationalists. That means he was the only one. Meanwhile, his father, he was an Austrian officer who literally hit him every time he was very much German. Yes, yeah. So now in this closer region, red marker. This closer region to Germany and Austria-Hungary, most of these people associate themselves as not Austrians but as Germans, as the ethnicity is also very similar, and also the border is, this is the border, they are very close. There's a border between Austria and Germany. Yes, so they associate themselves as Germans. Yes, so first Adolf Hitler had very good marks. A very good, lots of good marks. A plus marks. That's too much pluses. But a tragedy struck. His 6-year-old brother, at the time he was 10, he died. And he got lower and lower marks each day. Yes. So because, the tragedy happened, right? Yes. So he just talked to trees. Who would talk to trees except someone who had like something happening inside their mind? Who was? Adolf Hitler. Yes. Okay, he was growing very well, and when in high school he was pretty much very bullied a lot. Yes. So finally when he was in the age of 16, he just kind of dropped out of school. Yes. And finally in the age of 18, he left in his main town to Vienna, one of the capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, to study arts, because he was a very good artist. He wanted to study arts, but when he went there, he failed the arts exam. He literally failed the entrance exam. Because of that failed exam, because he failed in that exam, and World War II would happen. Simply because of that small thing. Okay. Then he went back, all the way back to his hometown, where, guess it, his mother was very sick. She was about to die, and then she again also died. Finally, it was very sad. The family doctor literally said he grieved so hard. Yes. So after that, he went to Germany, Munich. From here to here, where he tried to get a job, but he didn't find anything. He laid in the street selling postcards. Simple. Okay. So, and finally 1914, the year of preparation came, and after knowing that the Germans were recruiting literally anybody, he enlisted into the German army in no time. He fought very bravely. He literally missed death many times. Like a bomb landed there and he was just here. somewhere in the other side, and the explosion barely hit him. Yes, so like that, he was pretty agile until 1916, where he had an injury and he had to go to a hospital for some months. And there he heard about all the anti-war protests, about how people are not happy with the war which is happening near their battlegrounds. Yes, and then he went back to the battle, into the war, which was not even here, pretty far away from Munich. Yes, so where he would again in 1918 he would be temporarily blinded because of the poison gases and mustard gases they created. Yes, so he went back to Germany, where he would get treated again as usual. Okay, so he would get treated, but it took a pretty long time, and by the time he recovered completely, guess what happened? It was 1918. The World War ended, and he learned about the news that Germany and Austria-Hungary lost the war. And he heard that Germany had to lose a lot of land, as well as that the Austrians were, they're just broken. They're completely broken. But he was not sad about this home country. He was sad about Germany, which he identified as a German instead of an Austrian, who he actually was. Yes, so the Germans, many Germans, as well as that Hitler was very sad about them losing the war. Okay, so next what happens is, so even some conditions of the war for Germany are the army should be decreased vastly, and lots of money should be paid to the Allied powers. Yes, so first, because the army should be changed drastically only to 100,000 men, he was not in the army, but he acted as spy to the army, informer to be said. Yes, so many people thought in the cause for all of this was the Jews and the communists. Yes, so this was because they were extremely right or fascist. Yes, okay. So next what happens is, he just does spying some days. He starts to spy a workers' party, but he thinking it was a communist party, but it was not. It was a fascist party, which their thoughts were very similar. So he escaped from the army, that means unenlisted from the army, and finally he joined these new people, this new ideology. Yes, this new party to be said. Yes, so he was already very talkful. He had very good speeches which literally scared everybody. Yes, so this encouraged this party more and more, and he placed the name for the party as NAZI, which is a shorter form of a larger German word. And so he coined the word Nazi Germany. Yes, so this was all happening in Munich, this big city in the middle of Bavaria. Yes, okay. So he started to rise in power inside his own thing. Thing means in his party. Yes, and he also recruited many soldiers, old soldiers. So there were already people old army soldiers or ex-veterans who were just lying around, but they were not doing anything. They still had the strength as an army soldier. So many other parties started recruiting them, as well as those many parties, they were the Nazis who also recruited the soldiers and named them as the SA. Yes, the Storm Defense. Yes, they were like an army of this small party. Yes, and then the political rise to power started, and also one time Hitler was also arrested, because with his army and power he won. Okay, already by that time the French, so because the German money was inflating a lot, they had to print a lot of money, which means less value for that money. So they had to pay back the Allied powers, right? So the French came and occupied a small region in Germany known as the Ruhr, which had very large industrial regions, industrial factories. So these French took the output from those factories. Yes, so he was angered about that, Hitler, and so he wanted to attack Germany. Yeah, okay, so like a protest, an act of protest. So he went there to the capital square with his army, not exactly the capital square, but just a protest, like, yes. So but the police came, so he hoped that the police will just join him. He will accept they will accept him and his army, but they did not. The police / the cops shot at the people, and after that they went to court. Hitler was sent to court for treason, but he just took it as an act of opportunity to just speech, and his judges were also very much right-winged, just like him, very fascist, had the same ideas. So they let him they put him for jail for 5 years, but not 5 years. He was just sent out at 9 months, less than 1 year. That was great. And it was not just like a normal jail, it was like a beautiful hotel room where he would write a book. Yes, great. That was very great for him. Okay, so then he will come into the elections. Yeah, that was very great. And first in 1928, their party got just 2.6% of all of the votes. Yes. So next in 1930, their elections were just 2 years after 2 years. Okay, in 1930, they got a significant majority, but not the whole majority. And last and finally, 1932, they got the whole majority. They won, but not as president nor chancellor. So they got the most seats in parliament. Yes. So the next year, 1933, he begged there was an election for the president between Hitler and German general, ex-general Hindenburg. Yes, so Hindenburg won. He lost. So he asked Hindenburg to at least get a chancellor, to be a chancellor. So yeah, so he was granted chancellorship. But just 2 months before 2 months, Hindenburg died. And this Hitler took control of that and made himself a dictatorship, passing laws by just threatening his other political opponents, because he has an essay. He has this attack force. He has a private attack force, to say, like a lot of bodyguards. So he just threatened many other political opponents and put them to jail too. Yes. So he was now officially a dictatorship. So many rights were lost, like rights of journalism, rights of free speech, many rights were lost. And many concentration camps were built to store the Jews and the communists. So he thought the communists were the people who backstabbed the Germans, as well as he also thought the Jews were the lowest class in society. Meanwhile, the German Aryans were the highest class in society. Yes, so he was pretty racist, to say. Yes, so he put these communists and Jews in these concentration camps where more than 6 million people would die. That's a lot of people. Yes. Okay, so meanwhile all of this was happening, he also started to expand his boundaries. 1938, he unschlossed, we can say by the sorts, Austria, that means just annexing it. Then he came into a settlement with the Allied powers to take out a small strip of Czechoslovakia, where many ethnic Germans lived, and he broke the treaty. So they only approved for only that small sliver, but didn't approve for all of it, which, yeah, this person took all of Czechoslovakia. He was pretty selfish, And finally in 1939, enough was enough. He attacked Poland. and then World War II began, and the period of interwar ended. And finally, in 1945, he was not killed, but he killed himself with his wife. Yes, his newly married wife. Yes, and this was the life of Adolf Hitler, an Austrian who would become the German dictatorship and eventually start World War II. See us for today about the life of Hitler. Bye.